Hi, we are so happy to have you here at the Aspen Institute's German-American Trade and Tech Conference. We are here with Ann Cathrin Riedel, who is the Policy Advisor for Global Digitalisation and Innovation at the Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom. So we've been having a lot of conversations about kind of the big questions around trade and technology. And I first wanted to ask you, just what is your opinion? How powerful is the European digital foreign policy strategy, and might it strengthen the so-called Brussels effect?
First of all, I wish we have a comprehensive strategy for digital foreign policy in Europe. I think there are some specific strategies, for example, for standards, or we do have some things we're currently doing, such as like the Digital Services Act, or we work on satellites currently, but there's no real complete strategy. But regarding the Brussels effect, I think, and we heard this also on the conference from Arno Bradford, who's the inventor of the Brussels effect, that we really have impact globally. And at the Friedrich Naumann Foundation, we have several offices abroad. And for example, one of my colleagues in Taiwan is currently starting to work on a paper on how the Digital Services Act will be a role model for Taiwan or Sri Lanka when it comes to regulation for content moderation, for example. Or look at the GDPR, which was an example for the data protection law in Kenya, for example.
Okay, yeah. And I think one question that we also wanted to ask is your outlook basically on the likelihood of a new agreement around transatlantic data exchange. How do you see that moving forward?
Yeah, well, it's super important that we have this agreement and it's on a stable fundament. But there's currently Max Schrems again planning to go to court again. So we will see what happens then. But I think, and I really hope that there is a political will from both sides of the Atlantic that we as the European Union, as the United States, need to work together and find a solution, because it's so important that we, there's a nucleus of liberal democracies worldwide, build a fundament when it comes to data exchange, so that we can find some other partners worldwide where we can exchange data to as liberal democracies, for example.
Yeah, so mentioning liberal democracies, I know a big part of the conversation over the last day and a half has been about how to handle relationships or trade relationships with autocratic regimes. How do you think the US and Europe should move ahead there?
Well, I think it's super difficult. First of all, I think it's important to know what we want ourselves. When I look at Germany in this case, for example, I'm not sure if we really know what we want, especially when it comes to the digital sphere. So the federal government is starting to make a strategy for international digital policies. And now they are starting next week and want to make the strategy this year. And I think if we want, before we know how to deal with autocratic countries, we need to know what we want, where we stand. And if you have the confidence to know what you want, then you are a bit more aware of what autocratic regimes, for example, want. And often when you look at China, I think we're not aware enough how powerful they act, and that they are acting in a complete different way, like Putin, for example, does. It's more sneaky, and we need to be aware of that and step a bit up.
And maybe one final question I can ask is, you've been here in lots of talks. What's maybe one thing that you'll continue to think about over the days and weeks moving ahead?
I think it's not about something that is discussed here, but what I think it's so wonderful to see how engaged everyone is, and that you see with how everyone is committed to this European or German and American relationships. That's wonderful to see how important it is for so many people to get engaged in this conversation, and that's, for me, it's very fantastic to see that there are so many people, and that's the most important thing, that there are people who are engaged in this topic.
Well, I think we certainly hope that that's the experience people walk away with from the last 2 days. And thank you so much for sharing your perspectives. And it was so nice to get to talk with you here in person. Thank you all, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you.